Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.
Hello and welcome to The Money Factor. I'm Richard Naylor, your host. Our topic today is Veterans Benefits. And our guest is Joe Pollicino. He's director of the Albany County Veterans Bureau. I want to welcome you, Joe, to the show.
Thank you for having me, Richard.
Let's start out just talking a little bit about the Veterans Bureau. You're a county agency, right?
Yes, I am. The Albany County Veterans Bureau's been around for, I guess, maybe 40 years. Basically, what we do, we help veterans, either in our county, even get calls from other counties. We help veterans with claims through the VA, either compensation or a pension claim. We work with we're actually accredited service officers through the American Legion.
Ah. So you would also be involved in the flags for funerals?
Well, if people call and want to know what they have to do to get the flags or the burial, the plaque, if the veteran dies, we have the forms at our office and basically tell the people tell the widow or a son or a daughter what they need to do in order to have the veterans, a funeral. So in order to get the flag, you have to have a copy of the discharge papers from the veteran.
And I kind of jumped in with one little thing you do because I heard the word, let's see, you said Veterans Organization or?
Well, the American Legion.
American Legion.
Yeah, the National American Legion. See, all the service organization, American Legion, VFW, Purple Hearts, Marine Corps League, DAV, they all have service officers, which you have to go to school and be accredited with that organization. My choice at the time when I started this job was to get accredited with the American Legion. And basically, you have to go to school for a basic school for a week and then an advanced school for a week to get your accreditation so you can deal as a spokesperson for the veteran, between the veteran or the widow and the VA.
Right. Makes good sense. Now, we mentioned just that one thing, the flags, and we can go into that a little more, but I thought let's just give a kind of a broad brush idea about some of the things that would be in your purview. What kind of benefits do you deal with?
Well, compensation benefits would be for any veteran or anybody served in the military who was hurt or injured, either in a war, wounded, or just on active duty. If they got hurt while on active duty, whether it was in training or may have been on active duty, got an automobile accident while on active duty or something like that, then they would be eligible to put in a compensation claim through the VA. So if somebody was injured, of course, somebody was wounded or shrapnel wounds or whatever kind of wounds, it's obvious that they have these kind of wounds, and you put a claim through the VA, and the VA would see that. Of course, they have a Purple Heart, so they know they were injured, and then they rate it. They would rate that compensation, and it starts at a 0% rating, which means there's no monetary value on that. It means that.
So that would be like a mosquito bite.
Well, you were injured on active duty, but the VA would take care of it, but there's no monetary funding for that. Or it could be rated at 10% up to 100%, depending on the severity of the wounds.
And the higher the rating, the more you get.
Right, the higher the rating, the more money you can get. 10% is rated at approximately $123 a month. 100% is rated about $2,600 a month. And if you're rated over 30%, you get extra money if you're married. If you had children under 18, the VA gives you extra money for your wife, for your children.
So you kind of divide up the resources that the government and the tax system gives back to veterans for what they've given to the country.
Right, but basically,
based on what you have.
Well, this is all on the VA. This is all done through the VA compensation.
So what other things
the
are
other
there?
programs, there's pension programs. If a veteran or a widow of a veteran is in a nursing home, then they're eligible for what they call pension. Could be it's $90 a month stipend, which is for the veteran's own personal use. Now, right now, you're allowed $50 from Social Security for the veteran, or for anybody who's in a nursing home, and that money is for the person for own personal use.
Okay.
If it's a veteran or a widow of a veteran, then they'd be eligible for an additional $90 a month for their own personal use.
And that's tax-free?
That's tax-free money.
And nobody's going to take it
nobody's
because
gonna
you're in
take
a
it. The
nursing
nursing
home.
home can't take it. So that's for people in a nursing home. And then they have something for somebody's in an assisted living facility, a veteran or a widow of a veteran. They can get money towards paying for that assisted living. And that could be anywhere up to, I believe the top is like $1,600 a month. So if all your resources was going to pay for that assisted living place, and you had no money left over, then the VA would give you some money, supplement that to
So that really
pay.
would help.
Yes. And also they have for homebound veterans or a widow, if they're homebound, basically they only leave the house for doctor's appointments or for things of that nature, and then they could be eligible for pension for what they call homebound veterans.
So you really cover a lot of
Yeah, it's a lot of
things.
There's a lot of different things.
I was trying to read this small little book here, and I know you brought us a few to the library so that people could pick them up. You were expecting some new 2010s
yeah,
in the
2010
future.
books should be out in the
But
future.
there is a lot of detail.
Yeah, there's a lot of information there, and a lot of it is, I mean, if you just look at that book, you might know, I mean, you can read it and not understand the whole structure. I said there's different rules and regulations. I mean, if a veteran's in a nursing home, but his wife is still alive and she's in the community, and depending on their income and how much money, he might not be eligible for the $90 a month because his wife is still living and she's in the community.
Okay.
So there's different rules and regulations. I mean, so when somebody comes in to file a claim, you have to ask them all these questions, basically to find out. So, and then of course there's forms to be filled out, which we send into pension claims. They all go to Pennsylvania now, Philadelphia. That's where they do all the pension claims. So they go to Philadelphia and they, they look at them and make a decision whether, the veteran is, qualifies for, for the benefit. And it could take anywhere from, 6 months to a year plus,
And that's if they file at a certain time after?
No,
or
you
is
could
that...
file. I mean, you have to be in the facility to file.
Okay.
And once you send it in to the VA, whatever, say the VA gets it, say we send something in today, and they get it on Monday, which is February 22nd. So that's the date they stamp the claim.
Okay.
So you get retroactive back to the
that
date the date they received the claim.
Okay.
So if it takes a year, and it's $90 a month, so you're looking at $1,180 or whatever
Great.
that comes out to. If it's so they retroactive back to the date that the claim is received.
I read a little bit of this, enough to be dangerous, as they say. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. The time part varies, right? If you were in active duty and you can file early so that you get your money maybe right when you get out. If
a veteran right now, I mean, like what they do now, a lot of these bases, they have service officers, they have people that go in and explain the benefits to these men and women that come back from Iraq and Afghanistan. So if they file the claims, they can file the claims. They might have them start filing the claims right there. So they would get that date,
Okay.
when they get out to file the claim at that date. And a lot of them, some might, because if you come back from Iraq and Afghanistan or from any war, your first thing, you want to go home. If they tell you got to spend, we're going to keep you here for an extra 2 days because we want to go over
veterans
your
issues.
injuries, veterans issues, somebody might say, you know what,
Pound sand.
you know, yeah, I want to get out of here. I want to go home.
Right.
You know, I'll do it when I get home.
Right.
But a lot of these, but you can still go back to that date. As long as they file within a year of their discharge, you can get that.
Okay.
You can get that date. You know, get that date locked in.
Now, another thing that's probably big now is the education benefits.
We had a new GI Bill, which is post 9/11 GI Bill, which is a lot different than the original GI Bill, which was, you know, Montgomery GI Bill.
Back when I was in the
back
70s,
even back, you know, went back to
60s.
right after World War II.
Okay.
The Montgomery GI Bill, which gave you education benefits, which was for the veteran, and paid so much towards your education. The new GI Bill, the post 9/11 GI Bill, actually is more elaborate. If the veteran doesn't use it, he can actually pass it on to his wife or to his children.
Wow.
So it's, you know, a lot different than what the old bill was. If you didn't use it in 10 years, you lost it.
Okay.
So now if the veteran, say the veteran's in for 4 years and then he re-enlists, if he re-enlists for another 4 years, and then he's going to get these benefits. So if he doesn't use it, I mean, I know a gentleman I talked to a couple of weeks ago, he's actually splitting up between his two daughters because he has his education. He's all done with his education. You know, he got that, you know, he's an officer in the military, so he had his education before he went in. So he's able to use his Montgomery, his post 9/11 GI Bill to help his daughters.
And college can be fairly expensive,
Very expensive,
so that would be a very
days.
helpful thing.
And they also pay, you know, room and board, you know, or board if you're staying, you know, I think it's up to like $3,000 a year, so which is good money compared to what it was, you know, back post 9/11. All these veterans, you know, after 9/11, the new GI Bill is really helpful. I know they had a lot of problems. I mean, it didn't go into effect till last August of 2009, okay. And the VA, I assume, you know, they weren't expecting
as many people
to apply. So all East Coast goes to Buffalo, New York. That's where they go over the applications and stuff.
And does a person go there or just the application?
No, just fill out the application, you send
office.
it to Buffalo, and then they, you know, I mean, I know over the last year they've hired, you know, about 300 new people out in Buffalo to help them with the load, because like I said, Buffalo takes the whole East Coast of the United States. So you're talking a big area.
It's hard to understand how many people that is.
Yeah, plus, you know, I mean, there's you know, I think the last number I saw, they were talking like 30,000, 40,000 people applied, you know, for the benefits, which is, like I said, it's a good benefit. And, you know, you have to attend the class. You have to do your, you know, you have to maintain your credit hours and stuff. I mean, you can go part-time, you can go full-time, it doesn't matter. I mean, so say you take a full-time load and say that's too much for you, and you reduce, say, you know, you tell them, well, I'm reducing to part-time or 3/4 time, they'll reduce the amount of money they give you.
And does it go longer then, or the same amount of years?
Well, it'll go longer. I mean,
okay.
you can stretch it out. But you know, it's a good, like I said, it's a very it's a very good thing for you know, for the new era veterans. They seem to take care of them. I don't want to say. Well, I think because of a lot of things that happened to veterans, especially the Vietnam veterans, you know, with the way that they want to make sure that these people coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan,
they're welcome and they understand
better,
that
and understand what their benefits are.
That.
Yeah, appreciate what they're doing for us.
Right. Another big area I know that everybody thinks about, probably when they think about veterans benefits, is the VA hospital and the health benefits.
Right. The healthcare system, the VA is. It's like you say, it's not your father's VA anymore. I know that the VA has changed. The reputation of VAs have gotten a lot better than they were even 10 years ago. The care is a lot different now than it was. I think that a lot of people looked at the VA as just a place to, you know, veteran went to the VA, he was going to pass away. He wasn't coming out. Now the VA is it's really changed. They have a lot of different areas. You know, I mean, they changed it, modernized it to bring up to, you know, the 21st century.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that too.
Yeah. So, but they changed the way. The outlook at the VA is a lot better now than it was before. I mean, I know I talked to some World War II vets that they said that they would go there. You know, they don't care. You have to enroll in order to get the benefit. You have to enroll. Well, you go down and enroll, and then it goes by, you know, what your income is. You know, whether you're going to qualify to use the VA. Of course, if you're a disabled veteran, you know, you're going to get in there. They got different priorities. I know you saw in the book, just priority 1 to priority 8. The higher the number, like priority 8 is basically a veteran who's got to meet the criteria to money-wise to use the VA. Priority 1 would be you know, disabled veterans, 50% or more disabled.
So they're going to be taken care of.
They're going to be taken care of for their, actually, if you go to VA and like myself, okay, I was wounded. If I go for my forearm, which was injured during the war, that's free because it's a service-connected disability.
Right.
But if I go there for, say, a routine physical, for something else, then they would charge my insurance company. But whatever the insurance company pays from, they accept. I mean, if the VA says the charge is, say, $200, and my insurance company sends them $100, they accept that.
Whereas other people, they pay the difference, or they pay the copay.
Right. So but the VA, you know, people can enroll. You go down there to the VA during the day, and you go and enroll, and the people that are down there, when you go to the enrollment, they'll explain to the veteran, well, let's see what your income is. We'll let you know if you can come in or not. Nowadays, because of the economy, people losing their jobs, their health care, you know, the way they're losing their health care, a lot of veterans are looking to the VA saying, you know, I can't get health care on the outside, it's too expensive, or I just can't get it, or I lost my job, I don't have it. They're looking to the VA to help them out. But like I said, if they don't fall into that area, you know, then they might
not high enough priority.
Yeah, they will not get a high priority. They changed it a little bit, priority 8, but it's still, I mean,
it's not enough.
It's not. It should be, my opinion. I mean, if you make under, you know, I mean, $20,000, which is not a lot of money today, you should be eligible. But there's like 13,000, which is
well. In addition, you know, with medical care, you could make 100,000 and be totally wiped out.
Today's the way things are today.
Expensive. Right. Your income becomes inconsequential with some of these diseases.
But like I said, the VA is looking for, I mean, they get their money by, you know, by how many people they have, you know, that enroll into the system. A couple years ago, maybe 7, 8 years ago, there was a new thing out that they put out. I mean, Senator McCain was behind it, and a couple other senators, that they allocated money to the VAs by the number of veterans in that area. Of course, the Northeast, we've lost a lot of veterans. You know, going south, going to Florida.
Oh, I see.
Moving to Florida or moving to Arizona or wherever.
Florida must have.
So they allocated more money to Florida, to Arizona, to maybe Texas, than to the Northeast, because we were losing our veterans, either deceased or moving, you know, moving out of the area.
Right.
So we didn't have that many veterans. I mean, in Albany County, the last count in Albany County was about almost 22,000 veterans in Albany County. I mean, that's from World War II, Korea, Vietnam.
Well, that's not a lot.
No, but for a county our size, I mean, Rensselaer County has about 12,000 veterans. I mean, for their county. So you know, we're like.
Well, our county, what? Albany County is a couple 100,000.
Well, I think the last count was 200, maybe 210,000. I'm not actually sure the numbers.
Somewhere in there.
So
that's only 10%.
10%. But if you go down to Suffolk, the bigger counties, I mean, you ain't got 100,000. You go down to Queens County or these other big counties near the city, or you go out to Buffalo, you know, which Erie County is a lot bigger than Albany County. Their numbers are higher.
Right. There's a lot of facets to, it seems like, the health benefits part. I was reading things, and you know, it's distressing to even think about, but prosthetics and things like that. Are there things in that area that people might not think about where they really ought to be asking questions and find out if it qualifies?
But for prosthetics, well,
Or anything in
well,
the health area?
Yeah, well, I
because-
mean, like you said, prosthetics. They just changed it. In fact, they're getting a new prosthetic unit at the Albany VA. A lot of them they send them to Walter Reed if they need, a leg and arm or whatever. Walter Reed is the place that they send them. This VA hospital, I mean, I know there was an article last Friday. They got a $16 million stimulus grant through the government. Congressman Tonko was at the VA presenting this grant. They had it broken down where they were going to use this money, and some of it was in prosthetics, the area for prosthetics. But like I said, a lot of these, I mean, I know a guy came to see me a couple months ago. He had an injury, and just last year they had to amputate his leg from the knee down from this injury that he had while he was in Vietnam. So you're talking, 40 plus years ago.
Wow.
So I mean, I know they were going to fit him with a new, with a prosthetic.
And today's prosthetics are so much better.
Oh, they're unbelievable. I mean, it's almost. I mean, they're so, I mean, you think of. It's almost. I mean, we don't. The Star Wars type thing, where they got these almost bionic type.
It doesn't
thing.
walk by itself, but
No,
it's very
but it's
good.
pretty close. Pretty close.
How about hearing?
Hearing, the VA has their hearing aids are the best on the market when they issue hearing aids to veterans. They are the new digital age hearing aids.
Okay.
And they're very expensive. In fact, if you get hearing aids from the VA, and if you pass away, they want the hearing aids back.
Wow.
So I mean, they're very expensive. In fact, last month we had somebody from the hearing department at the VA speak to us and talked about the hearing aids. And they're just new, like I said, they do digital aids. You can't even see them
Wow.
if they're in your ear. They're the top of the line hearing aids, so it's nothing, nothing like it was 20
Because I would
years
imagine
ago.
a lot of people come back with a hearing problem.
Well,
around a few.
you have the hearing loss. A lot of people in the high, if you're in a infantry or in artillery or even on a ship, if you're on an aircraft carrier,
Those guns are
and
so
you're on
big.
a flight, you're on a flight line,
Yeah.
with these jets going.
Yeah.
Of course, nowadays they got better hearing protection than they used to have. I mean, the hearing protection back then was cover your ears.
Right. You would see people go
yeah,
like this.
cover
and
your
like-
ears,
And there's a shell about this
right.
big.
So, but the VA with their hearing, if you're a disabled veteran, and if you're rated at 10% or more for any condition, you can get issued hearing aids if you have hearing loss.
Okay.
You don't have to be. You don't have to be getting that compensation for the hearing loss. You can be getting compensation for something else. And if your hearing is bad, they will issue you hearing aids.
Another thing that I didn't know about until I was going through some of the materials you gave me, I've been to Arlington. Okay, that's a national cemetery. And so I know the word National Cemetery. I know presidents are buried there.
Right.
You go there, and it's both depressing and impressive because there's just so many people
Right.
there. But then you see Kennedy, and you see other things, and so it's kind of a combination of emotions. But then I learned that there are 200 or something, or 120, I don't remember, national cemeteries.
Throughout the country.
And could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, when one we got here, we got the one up in
Saratoga.
the Solomon National Cemetery, which any veteran, honorably discharged veteran, or widow of a veteran, could be buried at the cemetery, which is free of charge. To be buried
That
there.
was something I was
It's free
wondering.
of charge to be buried at the National Cemetery, but you have to have a copy of discharge. It shows that honorably served during your time, and you can be eligible to be buried at the National Cemetery. Saratoga National Cemetery, or Solomon National Cemetery, whatever you want to call it, is it's only been open, I don't know, 5 years now, maybe 6 years. I'm trying to remember when exactly they opened it, but it's like I said, for any veteran, honorably discharged veteran or widow of a veteran, they have ceremony up there. They have honor guard volunteers that do a firing detail.
So for
play
people who
taps,
really
fold the
do
flags.
feel patriotic and who have a reverence, for that, that might be a good option.
Oh, to be buried? You mean to bury? Oh, yeah. I mean, I chose to. I mean, my wife and I years ago we had bought a plot in the local cemetery, and then I decided that I want to be buried at the at Saratoga. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, how many families? I mean, people don't. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, my father, every Sunday we would go to the cemetery and visit my grandmother's grave. It was like after church you went to the cemetery.
That's nice.
And nowadays I don't think people do that. So if it's at Saratoga or wherever you're buried,
Albany
if they're going to
Rural
come
or-
and see you, they're going to come and see you. But Saratoga is a beautiful, beautiful cemetery. I mean, the ceremony is actually done very well. They have a different. If you're active duty and die in Iraq or Afghanistan, when they bury you up there, they actually do a gravesite ceremony. Regular or of other veterans, like they have a covered area where they do a ceremony.
Right.
Very, very. Like I said, they have the fire and detail.
Yeah,
They
my
do
father had that.
taps. They fold the flag.
Which he hated to hear.
Yeah, taps. Well, a lot of veterans have a hard time with taps. And fold the flag and present the flag to the to the widow or to the children or whoever. And if your wife passes away, I mean, you're both in the same grave.
So that's good.
So if your wife passes away first, she can be buried up there, and then when you pass away, you could be buried up, with her.
Right. We're getting close to being out of time. I want to talk a little bit about the process and how to get information, things like that. You've said a few things, like today they're better than they used to be, and they'll counsel people when they're coming out. But
Yes.
do you ever find people that don't know something and they wish they had, or?
Well, sometimes. I mean, like I said, a lot of the younger veterans that coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, depending on, if they get the debriefing, which they call it, they might come in to see us and say, oh yeah, well, I filed a claim for this or this, and I didn't. I'm not happy with the results. So we can look at the information, and we can actually file new claims. What they call, if we got new evidence, we can file a claim for the same claim that they did.
Right.
But we've done that for vets. Sometimes some of these people tell them, well, they'll put a list of stuff and 10 different things wrong with them. Hearing, my knee, my elbow, I broke my finger, or I had a busted nose or wherever, and then I said, well, we'll put in for everything. Well, the VA looks at all that. They might say, well, this service connected, that's not service connected. It's kind of hard because it should be in your records. That's what we tell these guys when you go away. Make sure that if you get injured, it's in your records, because the VA is looking at your records. And if I put in for an ankle injury and they go back on my military records and it says I was never treated for that ankle, that it's hard for me to prove that.
So can a veteran or a soldier check their records and make sure they're correct?
Well, they actually give them when they leave.
So they can look at it
yeah,
right
they can
there.
look at
but
it.
they really should look at it.
But you should, like I said, if you're injured, whatever, you should make sure that's in your record at
and
that
don't just
time.
say, well, it's close enough.
Yeah, if somebody gets wounded and they say, well, it's only a scratch, I don't want
It was only a flesh wound, right?
I don't want a Purple Heart, or I don't want this, and then it might not get in the record. And then, 20 years later,
Costing
your arm
a
starts
few
hurting, your knee
$1,000s,
starts
right.
hurting, and then you say, well, I was wounded. They say, well, there's nothing here that shows that you were wounded. So it's good to have everything documented.
Right.
Because the VA they go to get even back to World War II, if your dad, like you said, your dad injured his knee in World War II, so if your dad had come in and said, look, I want to put a claim in for my knee, so we file a claim for him, they're going to go back to his records and see, was he treated
Right.
for a knee injury?
And I think things were probably a little more chaotic.
Yeah,
You're in Europe
because you
and
came back,
you get
they came
blasted
back on
someplace
ships, they
and
came back,
treated
and they
in a
were just
field
happy to get home.
hospital.
Right. They were treated in Rome in a field hospital. Maybe it never got documented, or they said, well, here, we'll put a bandage on you, you're going back to the field.
Right.
Or whatever, so.
Actually, they were going to take it off. And
Yeah.
So how can they reach you? Because
Well,
this is complicated.
Yeah,
They might-
anybody who has wants to reach us, we're at in Albany. We're at 162 Washington Avenue, and our phone number is 447-7710. We're there 8:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday.
Great. So I would encourage everybody to
If they have
give you a
questions,
call.
if they have questions about their benefits, even about property tax, You know, because if you're disabled, you know, if you're a veteran, Cold War veteran, they did it for Cold War veterans too, the new property tax. A lot of towns, I mean, I know the town of Colonie, you know,
Right.
got into that, so you're allowed up to 15% off on your property tax, not school tax. This is just basic property tax. If you're a disabled veteran, or if you're a combat veteran, then you're allowed up to 25% off for your property tax.
And that can be very
that could
helpful.
be, yes, especially
Absolutely.
today.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
today.
Well, gentlemen, I thank you for coming and sharing
You're
all
very
that.
welcome. Very welcome.
Thank you. And I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show, that you learned something about veterans benefits, and that you share it with someone who might need it, and that you have a great week. Take care.
Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.